All right, awesome.
Yes.
Perfect, perfect. All right, so we're all here because everyone's using voice AI or wants to use it. And most of the time, it does sound like a robot. I've had crazy compliments over the past month of just the way my AI has a personality, the tone that it has. And, you know, I think it's just because of the prompt that people are using or the context they're putting into it. It's not so much maybe the certain tool that you're using, it's the context and personality that you're putting into it. Now, most people online that have services, the main goal and focus is getting someone a book and then getting them to buy. I think that we need to kind of change that a little bit because the same way I've always been is providing massive insight and value first. I'm here to hear your problems and see if I have a solution that fits that. So the same way that I've always been online, that's just what I add into my AI. And I'm going to go over all that stuff. We're going to go over this doc. I'm not going to read every single thing on it. Everybody will get this doc at the end. And who wants, you can drop a one in the bottom. Who wants my full prompt for this? And then also the AI prompt creator, so that's going to help you do your prompts for you. It doesn't matter what AI platform you're using, the structure is usually the same. So let's dive into this. All right. I'm going to go over the wrong way. I can't say it's the wrong way. I guess it's not. It's just the uninformed way of understanding prompting and what you should put in for context. I've seen hundreds of prompts when I hop on, and a lot of times this is what the beginning of the prompt looks like. You're an AI assistant that helps book and sell my services, convince people to sign up and get them to book a call. And it can do that, obviously, but we need way more context, and we also need to have some other processes before we're just trying to book and sell. I'm sure there's no one here that likes to be sold to or just push through a process. So we don't want to do that with our AI either. You know, when people are coming through my AI, I have hundreds of voice recordings right now from people going through it. They're loving it because it's not pushy, it's not salesy. It's literally trying to figure out what they need and then find a solution for that. And if our solution fits, it's obviously going to give some insight on how that would work. So it's educating them, it's informing them. It's not just getting straight to it. So now, again, obviously we know the common stuff. This is just way too pushy, sales driven. You're just going straight for the booking, straight for the call. And that's fine. I understand we all need to do that. But again, no one wants to be pushed through a process, never mind by a robotic AI. Again, most business owners are still very wary about AI. So if we give them a really good experience going through our stuff, that is going to kind of change their outlook on AI and using business. So most AI doesn't do any engagement rapport building. It's just pre-qualified book. I want it to answer questions. I want it to chat with leads. I want it to build rapport. And all that happens just from going back and forth in the conversation versus going straight into that whole process. So it's definitely not understanding the person's needs because the AI doesn't care what they need. It's just trying to sell or book this service. But having it determine what type of lead they are, what their needs are, is going to help better form your AI in that process. And again, there's not much, there's no personality or tone in it at all. And again, it is good to match your brand and your personality. My AI matches my personality. So that's why I've worked it into there because it works for me. So I'm sure it's going to work for the AI. Now, why this matters? Obviously, because we don't want it to be robotic or salesy. It's not a human. We can't lie to people. We don't want to lie, but we also want to make sure, again, that they're not feeling like they're talking to a damn robot. And that's how most sound, but it's not your AI platform. It's the tone, personality, the structure of that prompting that you have. So key thing I use in everything online, humor, light humor. Not trying to be a freaking comedian, definitely not. But humor gets people to warm up. It makes them smile. Even though it's AI, it's going to do the same thing. I literally hear people smiling and laughing when I'm listening to my recordings, and they are super engaged, as if they're talking to me. There's some people that go through it, and I swear to God, I don't think they realize they're talking to AI because of the way that they're talking and the questions they're asking and how they're responding, So I think that's pretty cool too. But again, you have to have it in there, let people know at some point. Now, let's dive into like the breakdown and framework. Again, I'm not going to touch on every single thing here. I don't want to bring you through some boring doc. I want to make this interactive. I want to be able to show the prompt builder, maybe do a prompt for someone, show how it works, things like that. So now the ISRT framework. This is super important to follow when you're doing your prompts. And like I said, I have a prompt builder for you. You just answer a couple questions and it will literally follow this framework and build it out for you. So you don't have to know how to prompt, like I said, but it's good to understand the different parts of the prompt and what they're supposed to do. So there's really four parts of the prompt. And yeah, you can add in other context and stuff, but the main things that you're going to see over and over again in a lot of different AI tools is the identity, which again, this is going to be based on the user's context, who this AI is, what it does, where the leads are coming from, what all that stuff. So it understands the part of the identity. And again, this is where you will be doing a bunch of editing if you do it. Now, when it comes to the style guardrails, a lot of this is going to stay the same. I have added to my style guardrails, but it's over time after listening to the conversations. And guys, make sure you're listening to your AI conversations and reading the stuff. I don't care how smart you are, how much information and docs, SOPs you have, and what you do. The AI is constantly going to need to be trained. There's going to be real leads coming in, dealing with real customers, and you're not going to know and be able to prepare for everything that's going to happen. But if you're on it and you're reviewing things, you're going to be able to make those tweaks in your prompt. That do it daily. I'm listening daily, and then I go in. I'm like, all right, it should have said it this way, or should have said this, or shouldn't have said that. It's not perfect. Like I had up there, it's a baby genius, but it needs to be trained on you, your processes, your business, and the way you want it to sound and act. So it's just like our kids, you know, we have to do a lot in order to raise them to be good kids and good adults. So same thing with our AI, right? So response guidelines. This is going to obviously be how you structure replies. Most of those are going to be the same when you're using a prompt builder like I have. But again, I'm constantly adding to those things. And I'm going to go over those at the bottom so you can kind of see and get more context of what I'm talking about. The tasks, most of that is going to be based on the user. And when I say that, the first part of introduce yourself with some light humor, ask the user's name, common. Ask a couple, answer a couple questions, common. When it comes to the pre-qualifying questions, that's where you're going to want to put in your context. Every business, every industry, every niche is going to have different pre-qualifying questions. Now, if you do get stuck on that and you're jumping into a new niche, just ask my prompt builder. I'm going in this niche, med spa, real estate, whatever it may be. Give me the basic pre-qualifying questions. And it's going to come up with the top pre-qualifying questions that you should ask a user before they should proceed in that. Here are some other things that you may see, in prompts or my prompt. I have additional information, important developer instructions. So again, while you're getting better with it, you will be able to add stuff in. But even though I'm good at prompting, not the best. I can figure stuff out and I'm very savvy. But I use my builders whenever I'm adding something. So again, if I'm coming in and I'm like, I need to add something to the response guidelines or maybe identity or style guardrails, sometimes I will copy that part of the prompt. I'll go to my prompt builder and say, I need to add in this context, add it to this part of the prompt. And it's going to give it to you in the best clear verbiage possible. We're not clear as AI is when we're giving context. This is why I don't recommend just dumping the brain into a prompt and expecting it to work. I have seen tons of prompts that are very unclear to where it's making the AI not function properly. So again, follow that framework if you're doing it yourself. So not going to dive into this too deep because you kind of get the concept here. And again, I want to go over the main prompt and then dive into those stuff and get everyone, if they need to ask some questions, we can make this interactive as well. The identity, making sure you're knowing who the AI is. Again, up above, it's just like, hey, you're Sarah and you sell my services. That's not enough context. Again, if you want this AI to have I create a persona. If anybody's seen my orbs, I have all those different orbs, some of them for our entertainment and stuff. But when I'm creating those, I'm thinking, who is this person? How do they sound? How do they act? What do they look like? Right? I'm trying to think of all those things. That helps me build out my AI, whether it's just an orb or it's an actual voice assistant. So making sure you're getting down the name. Obviously, everyone adds a name. The roles, who it interacts with. I see this left out a lot right here. Just letting the AI know where is this AI interacting? Is it just SMS? Is it just email? Which email's kind of a pain, which everyone knows. But again, need to give that context. Why are people engaging? So when you're going to look at my prompt, I have lots of ways people can engage with me. I want the AI to know that. And just know, because you have different offers, if everything's based on a certain calendar, they're all going to the same place. It doesn't matter if you have different offers, they're coming in from different locations. A lot of people coming in and saying, I need to create an assistant that does the leads, one that handles cold, one that is for this demo, it's like you can actually do all that in one prompt. As long as the prompt is structured properly and clear, and you have the proper context in there, it can handle all that. Mine's determining friend or family, potential customer, active customer, an affiliate, or something else. So it's going through that. If it's a friend or family, don't offer services. Don't pre-qualify. Don't go through the process. Just chat with them. Potential customer, full white glove service. A customer that's paying already, don't pre-qualify. Don't offer to book. Find out what they need. Help them provide service. If it's something that has to do with me, set a task for me. Last one, again, affiliate or something else, depending on your industry and niche. You can put all the different things in there and then have that determining what it should do based on what type of contact they are. And then from there, it'll take those steps. So you can break it down into multiple assistants, but really you can put that identity, everything into one in the tasks. So we can see here, Yusara, professional, engaging, and witty. I add a lot of keywords here because I add that into the tone and personality part, but in the identity, I'm adding it in there too. I want to really make sure, you know. So these are some of the things that people can be coming in from. So I do list them, and you'll see how I list them underneath. I even have steps if someone's negative, how to handle that. And again, did I start off with all these prompts that way? No, it's just from listening over and over again to all the new calls coming in. So the style guardrails, obviously how it should speak. This is going to be the most important part. Now I said usually that stays the same, but I add in another spot underneath that's tone and personality. That's where you can start putting in more of that context right underneath style guardrails. To me, this is huge online, especially this right here. Huge. I'm not saying you have to be like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. But most people don't give a shit. They just want you to buy their services, buy or die. Like Wolf of Wall Street. That's that's not how it's going to work with you or even the clients that are going through the AI. So the reason why I add empathetic, understanding, caring, informational, is because those are the things that I always try to incorporate with what I do. So just adding certain keywords like this is going to completely change the way your AI is speaking. Again, especially the witty, clever, humor, being creative, that right there is what definitely changes the personality as well. This is going to be, again, very helpful, some of these keywords, but the witty, the clever, the humor, light humor, not trying to be a comedian. I have a orb that does that, but we don't want that for our business, obviously. We just want them to be able to resonate with what we're talking about. And if they smile, that is even a plus. They're warming up on that call. I did drop in some key tips that you can add, and I'll show you in my prompt below where I give examples. AI is so smart, you can probably just give one example and say, use context like this when you're using humor. But I did give a bunch of them because someone might like one other than the other. You might want to take some stuff out. It's whatever dependent on you, but I'm not expecting you to go through this doc and pull stuff out of here and add it. You'll get the entire prompt to where you can just take stuff out from there. But again, I want to add in a little bit of context so you have an idea of what you want to do in those spots. Now, response guidelines. Again, this usually does stay the same, but you're going to be adding stuff in. For instance, I added in everyone right now, meta spam is kicking. Again, it died down for a little bit. Now it's getting crazy. So I created a scam and spam protection type of little prompt that I added in my response guidelines section. Sometimes it doesn't respond like it's supposed to, and sometimes it does. But again, you're going to get the basic response guidelines. You're going to find yourself adding to it. There's really no reason for me to even say keep it clear and concise, no long-winded robotic responses, because you should not be writing in your prompt anyway. Use my prompt builder, wherever it is, right here. Definitely use that, because that's what will happen. We'll end up having a long-winded, repeated, unclear message, and then go, the AI didn't do what I wanted it to do. So anytime you're creating a prompt, updating just one part of the prompt, meaning you're just adding in a sentence, an action, just use that to keep it clear. Okay, so again, I don't want to go through all this because you guys don't want to sit through me reading all of this stuff out, but I want to touch on the basic stuff here. So the tasks, this is where you're going to spend the time figuring out your pre-qualifying questions. This is important. You want to have, is the user looking for a 3 or 4 bedroom? Any questions you're trying to ask to pre-qualify. Now, when it comes to, does the user need my services now or later? If so, do this. If not, do this. You can add those directly into the prompt. There doesn't have to be other workflows to trigger that. You can simply put it in. So this is, again, a very simplified, broken down example. I would not copy this and put that in there. Again, I'll give you the prompt below, but I just want to kind of break it down. The first step is usually just greeting and introducing, obviously asking name. Again, kept it simple. We want to determine, why are they here? Who are they? What do they want? Without asking that, what do you want? Are you here for a demo, pricing? Just conversationally chat with them and see what they need help with. Always provide that value. Always provide answers. So customer support is built in. Even though they're not a customer yet, the support part is built in. A lot of people ask, do I have to create one for support? No, have it all in one. As long as you're giving the information to the AI, you're putting in the knowledge base and you have what you need in your prompt. The pre-qualifying questions, again, is where most of the time will be. Making sure you're having the proper pre-qualifying questions to determine, is this going to be a booked, should I offer to book? And that's the thing I want to mention too. Most AIs like, great, let's get you booked in. Let me get your name, email, phone number. People don't like that. Ask first. I'd let the AI, don't ever assume. If they seem interested and they've pre-qualified, ask the user if they would like to book a call with Justin to talk more about blank. So I do feel that right there also is less restriction when you're trying to get someone to book versus just assuming and just asking for the information. Again, we'll have, if they qualify, they want to book, collect the information and book that appointment. So again, I added in some words and phrases that will help you get some ideas, creative juices flowing. Again, you don't have to put too much thought into it. You could just brain dump that into the AI prompt creator, letting it know exactly, and it's going to bust that out for you, no problem. But again, empathy and understanding is huge. Customers are coming to you because they have a problem. Plain and simple. They have a lack of help, lack of leads, lack of bookings, lack of sales, lack of something, reason why they're coming to you. So we don't normally are empathetic and understanding with the problems, because if they're coming to us, they're going to tell us the problems we have. And most people are like, oh yeah, I can help you out. Just book right here, or, call this or sign up here. It's very short. It's very cold. It's direct. It's salesy. Again, same way you want to be, same way your AI wants to be. Conversational friendly. These are some you could pick out and add in there once you understand how the prompt structure works. Then you don't have to worry about it. But again, this is why I added some other stuff. Personality and humor without being a joke bot. Because if you just add humor, be funny, it's going to be talking and then go, hey, guess what? What did the chicken say when it crossed the road? Like, we don't want it to be doing stupid shit like that. We want it to be professional, but make someone smile. And again, there's a couple other things here. I won't judge if your workflows are held together by duct tape and hope. I'm here to help you fix that. So there are some humor responses for different things that you can put in, and it will have the context on that, and it will create different ones, because I've heard hundreds of calls and it does kind of switch things up. Okay, so now the prompt, if anybody is using the white label AI that have, either you already have this or I will give it to you in the prompt here. So you can just grab this and then import this assistant that I have. So this prompt below is tweaked a little bit, but that ID is my actual assistant. So make sure you're going through, taking out Justin, any white label AI stuff. Again, when you do an account, ID transfer directly in, it's just copying my exact AI. So you are going to want to go through it because there's a lot of stuff in there. Just remember that. Okay. So here, starting with identity. Pretty much what we went over up there. I'm letting them know what they've tested, may have shown interest in, responded on. Again, I'm very detailed in my identity. Now, I will go through my full prompt instead of this one, just so you can see exactly what I've put in these spots, because sometimes having a template doesn't always help the best. So we're going to just go down here. This I'll be sending to everyone. Obviously, it's attached to this doc. It's this prompt creator. All right, let's dive into this here. Maybe I can open up this screen a little bit. Okay. So again, I sat here on a dock and just dumped all the things that people can want something from me, reasons they're coming in, different channels they may be coming in from. Obviously had my prompt builder structure it better, but I have a lot of good context in here. So usually my AI doesn't get thrown off if they're asking a question because it's in here. I do have primary tasks included broken down off of this identity, but obviously there's tasks below, where it's more broken down to exactly what that process they have to do. This is more of just like an overview of the tasks too. Engage with leads coming in from all of these channels. Here's another one. Determine what type of contact they are before proceeding. I don't want anybody just booking. I don't want to pre-qualify anybody because then it will also look like your AI doesn't know what the hell it's talking about, but it's super intelligent. Another big one. No one adds this in. I'm not saying no one. I'm basing it off of all the prompts that I review. There's so many little key things lacking, but just adding these little things in is totally going to improve the entire experience. Pre-qualify leads based on criteria. I mean, the pre-qualifying questions, the entire conversation, the way things have gone. Schedule when the user shows interest, meets qualifying criteria, or requests to book. That's another one I don't see a lot. Now, for the style guardrails, I have a lot in here. You're going to see that right to about here is the basic, what you usually get in your style guardrails prompt. As you can see, I added tone and personality, which I'm going to drop a space there. But it's technically part of this. That's the tone and personality is where this is going to fit in the ISRT framework. My tone and personality, again, is pretty extensive compared to most that have it in there. So maintain friendly, lighthearted, professional tone, even though it has that humor. Laid back, approachable. Never be pushy, salesy, or direct. There's a lot of key words in here that you'll want to add. Prioritize making users smile while staying helpful, professional, and informative. Use witty, clever humor congruent with your business, right? So it's within your audience. Humor should never be childish, joke telling, or it's just woven naturally into the conversation. I've had people say that again, it was a good experience, but it was just fun talking to her. She was funny, made them laugh. That right there. That's why I talk a lot about humor, because it just sets it off from the norm. Everything out there is the same copy paste shit. You have to stick out. Excuse me. I see some comments coming in, guys. I love it. Keep the comments coming in. I am going to jump into that to make sure I'm keeping up with stuff. And I remember the AI companion is on, so I was told that you can ask whatever and it should respond and keep up to date with everything. So one thing I wanted to mention too, while we're in here, you're going to start noticing this with ChatGPT. It's putting out this mile-long dash that we don't even have on our computer. That right there, if you're using it in your content, is a dead giveaway, for one. For two, the AI speaks weird when there's that long dash. So in my prompt builders, in everything, I keep telling ChatGPT, do not add that long dash. I show an example of how to not use it, just the dash between the words, everything. No matter what I do, ChatGPT will not listen to me. But you need to take that out just to be safe. That's all. Just do that. Because I've noticed that when there's that long dash, she kind of sounds a little different. And I did just update this last night, and I missed that. Okay, so another thing, which we obviously want to insert creative humor throughout the conversation, unless they're negative or rude. The AI can determine that based on their answer. I don't want it to keep having humor with someone who's, negative, being disrespectful, whatever it may be. So I do have somewhere else in here that it's like politely end the conversation. So it's not continuing going back and forth. Now it might. I haven't had anybody come in and be negative, but I did try to add that in there because I pre-thought that too. Now, here's where we get into some of those examples, and I let it know. Rotate and keep it fresh. Each conversation, use your creativity. I don't want it to just repeat the same thing over and over again. I just want it to have context of how I want you to have humor. And look, I'm not a comedian, and I'm sure everyone on here is not a comedian, or you would be on stage right now telling jokes, right? So use the prompt builder, just like I do. After you've given it context on your business, on your services, your industry, your niche, your audience, ask it to give some humor that would resonate with that audience. That's what I did. I think of stuff all the time, but I started off giving some tips and then it just popped out exactly what I would have said. So just give that context out of the brain of your information. This is my audience. Create some humor based on this audience that would be congruent, that would resonate with them. And again, I'm not going to read all of these. Some of them I do love. You know, don't tell anyone Justin makes me work for free, no breaks, no bathroom trips. I mean, I'm AI, but I still, some of these are good. So I love hearing people laugh while they're on the call because they're probably going to reach out to you, want to chat with you because it was a great experience. Now, response guidelines, again, as I went over, a lot of that is going to stay the same. Okay. But then I have different stuff for like the booking process. If the user wants to book, just skip everything, go right to booking. This is based on personal preference. I'm very good with having the people who are supposed to be in my audience in there. I have people like, I already know what you offer. I just want to book. And I was listening, and the AI is like, okay, but we just need to pre-qualify you. Need to ask these couple questions. I don't want you asking those. If they know me and they're ready to book, don't put any restrictions. Just let them get right to it. You know, I added this personally for me, something you may not do. I add my AI with a lot of context on my trainings, docs, PDFs, and I don't want that giving it away without me knowing, right? This was the important one I told you about. This sometimes works. Again, AI is not perfect. Even your knowledge base. I'm constantly having issues with ChatGPT, my custom assistants I build, not always reading the knowledge base that I upload in the docs. It's the same with all the other AI we're using. GHL, assistable, closed bot, doesn't matter. But this here, it has stopped on a bunch of messages that were coming in. So again, this was something I added in over time, just having live stuff go through my AI. That's going to be the best for you is after you've got everything together, test it, let live stuff go through it, look at the comments, read the comments, listen to the voice notes, the voice recordings, packages, and pricing. Again, reason why I put this in here like that is because she was saying the dollar sign. Again, AI is so super smart. Why are you saying the dollar sign in front of $297? That doesn't look good, you know? So I just make it so it says $297. Don't know why that happened to me with this prompt, but that's what kept happening. So again, I just took that precaution in there. If you're going through my prompt, you're probably not going to want to be asking or saying some of these things with GHL, right? So make sure you're going through that and you're taking that stuff out. I think I even had something in here. You may want to do this too. Let your AI know that other people have your name and not everybody that comes there with that name is you. Because I had some Justin go through and it's like, hey, Justin, fancy meeting you here by the coffee maker or something like that in the office, making a joke like it was me. And I'm like, oh my God, that wasn't me. You have to make sure that you're not thinking everybody has the same name, right? Everybody coming in. I forgot what that was. It was somewhere in here. Okay, so moving on. Let's see here. All right, I'm not going to go over any more for that. Getting into kind of the task here. As you can see, main, introduce yourself, ask the user's name. Always ask the user's name. Hey, this is Sarah. Say something with humor. Just kidding. How may I help you? Always building rapport. It's not just diving into pre-qualifying and pushing them through that process. It is going to build rapport with them, which people like. They want to know that the person on the other end cares and is listening to them, regardless if it's AI. Here's the other one, like I said, determine whether they have questions, exploring options, or existing customer. This will conversationally just add it in there. You know, what are you looking for? Based on their answer, it's going to know where they fit into that. That's why I have underneath 3, if they are a paying/active customer, do this process. If they mentioned canceling, offer this solution. If not, we're going to take care of it. Provide URL. The scrape user's information. This is obviously going to be based on their potential customer. I want the AI to scrape that information so it can gain as much information and context from that URL. I can see there was an update just now. Let me refresh real quick. All right, let me jump into the comments in a second here. Close this up. All right, so we're right down here. Again, new potential customer, we're going to proceed with the pre-qualifying questions after it obviously scrapes the URL. Again, 5, some of these you're not going to want to use. You're just going to want to update those, okay? There may even be some links in there, so make sure. It would be awesome if we're sharing an AI template, kind of would take some of that out, but you have no way of really getting to that. We're making it a template like that. So again, a lot of these, yours might not be that big for the tasks because I have a lot of stuff that I'm trying to determine and figure out. So I'm moving them through a bunch of different processes there. But again, when we're going to come down, this is going to stay the same for most, this ending part. So from about 3 or 4, all the way to 8, that's going to be based on context. You're going to see this a lot in a lot of prompts that you're using. And then underneath, again, I have important developer instructions. Audio consent is something I just added in. Because after someone has a good experience with my AI, whether it's an orb or voice, and they ended up signing up, I want to be able to use that to show that the AI is what really created that relationship, So I don't know how this is going to work yet. I just added this in again late last night. I would like for this at the very end of the conversation, if it was voice, to ask if it's okay that we use the recording. And like I said, additional information, a lot of this stuff that I went over, you're not going to need right now. Just get the prompt together, get it out, start running that prompt after testing it through live leads so you can be updating it. It's the only way to improve your prompt. Only way, because you'll never get a fully done, never needed to be updated prompt. I do think they're going to be evergreen almost. You're always going to want to be tweaking them and adding things here and there. So here's where I just add a little bit more context that I don't have up there. I obviously have a little more information, and yes, I do keep this stuff in my knowledge base, but again, regardless of what AI tool I use, meaning an AI conversational and voice tool, or even ChatGPT, there's sometimes issues with knowledge bases. I never see an issue when it's in the prompt. So there is certain things I will add to my prompt and the knowledge base just to make sure. So especially key features and tools, right? That's huge. That's like a always asked. I don't want, if there is an issue with a knowledge base, it not to connect to it and not have the right answers for that. So I do have a lot in my prompt. Everyone that says, does it slow it down? Nope. I don't notice a huge latency in it. All right, let me make sure that was it. I believe so. I want to check some of these comments here. And if anybody is not, currently using a prompt builder, has AI, maybe not using what I'm using, feel free to drop in some context and we can create a prompt. I do see there's a lot of comments, so I'm gonna start getting to those. If anybody wants to unmute yourself, ask any questions.
Hey Justin, can you just show how to actually make the phone call from once the assistant is set up?
To demo it.
Yeah, just like how you actually make the calls um once everything is set up and all the prompts are done.
Yep.
And the last thing also is how to take the information that you put into the knowledge area and actually get it so that the assistant can grasp that knowledge.
Let's do that. Let's dive in real quick. All right.
Thank you.
Since I'm in here, the knowledge base is pulled. Let me zoom out of here. This thing is up way too much. The knowledge base. So this is, say, your assistant, right? Have you uploaded knowledge base content? Yep. So when you're in your assistant, you choose the knowledge base right here on which knowledge base that you want to connect to. You can only connect to one brain, one knowledge base, but in that knowledge base, you can put as much information as you need to. So you really wouldn't need to connect to multiple because everything that you would need could be in one. This is for like one assistant. Maybe you have another assistant that, again, maybe totally different part of the business. I don't know, again, what your situation would be, but it's just as simple as going to right over here on the sidebar, selecting knowledge, and then adding that, and then obviously making sure you save. Now,
Justin, I thought that didn't work for voice.
voice, but not voice orb.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, and that's where it stinks because people are going to my site and on there, I have my orb.
Mm.
It says the orb is the only thing that can't book. Conversational and voice AI can book, cancel, reschedule, all that. Someone goes through it today and is like, hey, yeah, tell Justin to call me when the AI can actually book on a calendar. And he was saying it in a nice way, but that's pretty much what he said. And I'm like, oh my God, he missed or didn't see that. It's just the orb that is having, it not so much having an issue, but it's evolving to where it's going to be able to book, collect info, check stuff, whatever it needs to be. But I just use the orb as it's a conversational piece on the website to build rapport with people, direct them to click a button down below. But there are some people who are getting it to book now. So, I
But
do.
but that's using external like Supabase or BuildShip, right?
I don't know. There's some people saying they're getting it to do it without. So I'm hoping within the next week, because a lot of people have been talking about it, there may be a video
Yeah.
that he puts out. But again, for now, I'm just using it. Again, I'm attracting hundreds of people
Yeah,
just by using that and having it conversate. And if one
for
person
sure.
thinks it doesn't book, it's okay. I reached out to him and he's like, no problem. But again, it's yeah.
I
So
guess the biggest thing would be just having like the discrepancy, like you having, it connected to your phone, but then having the orb and you want it to do the same thing, right? Like for the most part, like
yeah.
it's the same kind of conversations. You want that end outcome to be, maybe it's booking something if that's the main objective. But yeah, I was just curious because that was one thing we were kind of dealing with. And it's just like, trying to promote that or talk with that with individuals, that was getting tricky because some things are working, some things aren't working, and it just confuses them when they're already kind of like,
So the
you know.
best thing, real quick, before I jump into finishing up with Jeremy's question, best thing for that, brother, is what I did is I have my basic AI prompt that does everything, booking, all that. But then I took that and I created one just for the orb. And I just let it know, you don't book, but you can let them know to click the button above or below, So I don't
Mhm.
know if I went back and actually updated it again. Maybe that's why he assumed it booked. But I did it.
Uh,
So it said it don't offer to book, check times, none of that. Let them know that if they want to book conversationally or voice, they can do that below through the demo, and that's what I'm going to show you, Jeremy. So um, in the bonus content that you have, I have a template in there, a snapshot, GHL snapshot. In that snapshot, I have a page just like mine to where you can kind of set that up quickly to start testing. Is it this one? Let me see real quick, sorry. Yeah. So there's a page right here. I give like a demo page. Now, once everything is all set up with your workflow, make AI call. Once you fill out that form, that's going to call any lead back. So you don't have to like connect the form to the AI because in the workflow, you just have it opened. If anything's filled out or whatever, make this AI call. But you can add a trigger to where it's like, only if this action happens, make an AI call. Again, everyone's business will be a little different depending on what you're doing and your goals are. The other thing too is the number for this will be the number for that. So right now, if you've gone through everything and set up those things, you can just call that AI number and it's going to pick up and start the process. So to demo it before even going into a form, just call that AI number. Did that answer the anything else? Let me know. I know there was some other, I will get to the comments, but in case anybody wants to verbally unmute and ask any questions, let me know. I'm going to drop this doc in the chat here so everyone can get access to that right now.
Justin, did you say you would have that prompt that you were showing somewhere?
Yep, so let me drop this in the comments real quick, just so everyone knows, everyone can download that link. Yeah, in the doc that I'm providing, I gave a prompt that is kind of a little more templatized a little bit, where I have the bolded and grayed areas. But the ID, the assistant ID that I provided, you can just take that, put that into, the system to just pull in that exact
So
assistant.
the one that you have there is what you're saying, like you showed,
Yeah, right
like
here.
in assistable.
Yep, yep. So if you copy that and you go into your assistant, right here, import what ID, just paste that. Already a duplicate.
It's probably already in yours. Yeah.
Yeah, but it should allow. If I click that, that's what prevents copy. Or is that allow copy? So let me try that. It's just like GHL snapshots where you can kind of
Mm.
choose. Okay, so if anybody has any issues, what I'll do is I'll just grab that entire prompt. Well, anybody who's in the school group, this prompt is already in, it's already in here, right in here. So I added this the other day. I don't know if anybody saw that. So if you're in here, you have access to just come in and copy this entire thing. And the reason why I did the assistant ID and the prompt is because in case there was an issue with the assistant ID, that's really all that includes in the assistant, in that ID is just the prompt. So all it does is save you from clicking one extra button if you can use this, but really there's no problem if you have to just copy and paste that. But any of the prompts and IDs that I have dropped them in here for you. I like school because they give you this, this is actually for code too. So
Mm.
thought that was pretty cool. But yeah,
Yeah,
that's
that's awesome.
um
You just saved me so much time later, Justin. Thank you so much.
not a
You're
problem,
like we're building like our prompt's very detailed too, but like there's so many things in yours that I'm like, oh my God, those little nuggets, it's gonna change the whole thing. And you saved me so much time in my calls later on today. Thank you so much.
Not a problem. I love feedback, man. Appreciate you being part of the group, brother.
Yeah, man, always.
Awesome. So some people came in during, I know some people had to leave, so I got a lot of private messages. Have to hop on a call. I got to go. Can I get the replay? So yes, the replay will be in the free Facebook group, but then anybody who's in my school group will be in there too. So anybody will have access to this call. Won't have to, jump through any hoops to get it. And I will need to take a minute to go through all of these. There's a lot here. It's awesome. But again, anybody, any more comments, questions, anything, go ahead. Feel free to unmute yourself. I want to make sure I'm, providing some value too. If you need some help with something, you want to create a quick prompt, whatever it is. I also show how to make it. Oh, okay.
Yep. I got a question for you.
Yep.
So I get the overall methodology behind that or the prompt you have that you went through for your agency. When someone's working more in a niche, whether it's a med spa, dental, or real estate, um, is it are you building it more specific to so use real estate because if you're talking to a buyer or talking to a seller lead that's coming in,
Mm.
right? Um, is
Yeah,
it
so my example, I do have that as agency, but I'm a SaaS owner. I've done SaaS for 5, 6 years. So I was in the real estate industry for 3, 4 years before I went to the beauty industry for about 5 years. So definitely hear you saying, yes, I do have examples on that. They are in the school group. This example was just, breaking down this today, but just
right?
to kind of give you some context for my mortgage broker, this is the prompt, that I have for him set up, so it's going to have the proper pre-qualifying questions, asking their credit score, if it's above or below, do this or that, you
Right.
know. So regardless of what I shared, if you go into here and you just let ChatGPT know, I need you to update this prompt. Make sure it's in the context of a med spa, for a med spa niche or audience, or for real estate, that will pop that prompt back out in the context that you need it for. So we'll take this right here, update this prompt for the, let's say, med spa. So I could even put a little more context into that if I wanted to, but I'm just like, update this with the med spa industry. We'll see what it gives us. Too many concurrent requests. Well, I don't think it would be from everyone using it, right? Because it's on my GPT. That was weird. I'm pretty sure when I share a GPT and you use it, it's pulled into your account. So everyone using it shouldn't affect it. That was weird. Okay, here we go. So this again is designed to make sure it's staying within the proper framework and formatting. So identity, there may be a little bit that you want to add, but you could just probably leave it after adding the name and the business. Style guardrails, again, those are usually going to be the same, but this is where you can add more context once you get into the prompt more and running some leads through it and needing to update it. Same with response guidelines. Most of this is going to stay the same for you. The tasks, the pre-qualifying is where you're going to want to, check out the most. And sometimes it's only going to give a couple. I would say add more basic pre-qualifying questions. Here's the updated version. It's going to pop out everything the same up until there, and then it should add more pre-qualifying questions. Anybody who doesn't know, I added it to do it in Markdown because this is going to be the best way that you can copy this and put it into your prompts. It was giving it in like a doc format, a regular ChatGPT response, but it does change the formatting when you're pasting it. You don't want that. You want to make sure it's staying within this format structure. So as we can see, it is adding more. Now, I could have said, add more pre-qualifying questions, and if they haven't had this or haven't done that, don't offer services or do this, and it's going to add in those steps for you. So again, don't need to know how to prompt, don't need to know how to write it. As long as you're working with it, it's going to give you, the best structure for you, save you massive amounts of time. Building this one prompt creator, I ran out of the 8,000 character limit, so I cannot add anything else to this. So if I go to improve it, I have to remove from it or condense the information a little bit more. But I use my prompt builder to build and improve my prompt builders that builds my prompts. We're like 50 prompts deep on this, but that's going to be another training that I want to do. I don't know if anybody would be interested in that. I love creating my own custom GPT assistants. I make them for myself, my clients, my wife, when she was doing CNA work. So whatever it is, I'm always creating a custom GPT. So I don't have to keep redoing the same tasks over and over and over again in my business or for my VAs or anybody who's helping me. So if anybody is interested in that, definitely let me know because that's another one that I want to do. And on top of that, what you can do with ChatGPT is it's free for you. I mean, unless you're on the paid plan, you can create something for your client and give that as added value for them that helps them do something in their business. That will always lead into more stuff with AI as well. So Ron, was that helpful? Did that make sense?
Yeah, so I could do the same thing with your prompt that you're sharing, copy and paste it in there, and then kind of um, tell the prompt creator to personalize this for a specific industry, take out any reference to GHL, agency, all that, and it would go through the same
Yep.
kind of trim down.
Yep.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, it should. And again, I would obviously just review it and then let it know if there is something. The system we're using, it generates the prompt for you when you give some context, but then I noticed people were also getting stuck on the context. Like, what should I put? That's why I came up with that ISRT framework, to make sure you kind of giving context based on those different parts. Because then when you give the AI those contexts, it's going to have a much better, well-rounded response. But again, what I created a description creator also. As I'm always creating GPTs, but so I found that even having the prompt creator, people were having an issue with not knowing which context to give, right? Even though I have it ask questions. So I have one that creates a very well-rounded description. It asks you some questions to get that context, and then you can take that description and create that prompt with it, you know? Okay, let's see here. Thanks, Justin. We'll have to drop off. I gotta get the replay. No problem, Sarah. Jonathan said these keywords make all the difference. Yes, it's crazy because there's no secret. It's not really a secret sauce or anything. It's literally just making sure you're telling that genius of an AI, what do you want to pull out of that genius into being your AI? Because it's not going to know. It's not going to automatically do it just because it has all the humor in the world, all the answers in the world, unless we're telling it and giving it context. You know, it could go off the rails too. We don't want that. Just some prompt builder is gangsta. Thanks. I appreciate that. I've been using it to generate demos for the receptionist. Nice. It's awesome. I love hearing it, brother. Again, feel free if anybody wants to unmute themselves. I'm still way at the top with kind of going through the comments. I don't know if I'll get to all of them. I want to.
I have a question, Justin.
Yep.
Um, my my niche is working with children, and I'm trying to get my bot to talk in cinematic form rather than more like narrative form. And everything I've said to it, everything I've tried to tell it, it still wants to keep reverting back to the AI robotic way. Like it tells, if it say like if you were telling a story, it tells it more like in a narrative way using um using words like that are very distant rather than more like watching a movie. Like when you're watching a movie, you feel like you're part of that movie. Whereas if it's a narrative, it's like very distant, it's just telling something about it. I'm trying to get it to switch to that cinematic, and everything I've tried is like it's not doing it.
Yeah, I wonder if it's in the prompt because that's where usually a lot of it is in the prompting. So, I mean, if you could share it, I could review it and give you some feedback. The other thing is too is I don't know what I don't know what AI builder you're using is sometimes if something's just not working, I create a new assistant and I start with a fresh new prompt.
I've tried that too, yeah.
Yeah. What builder, what AI tool is it? GHL, Closebot, Zappy Chat, Consolidator, Assistable?
It's just that with the assistable chat, the builder. And I've actually built one myself, the prompter, the GPT prompter, to try to help me, and still can't get it.
Hmm. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I haven't experienced any like narrative type of speaking AI. I don't know if anybody else here is anybody else experienced what Deb's experiencing? So you can give some feedback or any insight. I haven't. So have you tried one of my prompts?
Well, I'd like to try this one that you're just giving out to see if it will help correct it.
Okay. Yeah, I would definitely um work with what I have there and see if that changes.
Okay. Because I
Yeah.
got it to do just about everything else I need it to do, like, the way it talks, the way it introduces itself, the way it engages and probes with the child. As soon as it goes into talking to that child, it wants to go narrative on me.
Hmm. Yeah, that's strange.
Because I want it to, in the conversation or in the stories that it's talking to the child, I want when the child's listening to it, I want the characters to interact with each other. Like Johnny, watch out, rather than Johnny fell.
Okay. So now I get what you're doing. Yeah. I see that is a little different, having it. I didn't realize it's literally reading, kind of like a story. Um, yeah, that would be a little challenge. That would be something I'd have to like dive into and play with to, how to tweak. I was actually going to do something not like that, but something similar for my real estate agent who is doing a home loan consultation, first time home buyer type of thing seminar. And he's like, "Can your AI do it?" And I'm like, "I don't think so." But I set up the orb and I put in the whole transcript of the whole thing. And it started going through it, and I have it so it's like waits and pauses, acting like it's waiting for people to respond. And it's like, all right, let's jump into this. But to use it for something like that, or story mode, or not so much story mode, but for reading, I do think there'll be some other challenges and tweaks to make to get something like that to work fluently.
Well, if you're willing to take a look at it privately, I'd appreciate that.
Yeah, send it over in school. Send it over in school. I don't know if today's crazy and
Right, yeah,
tomorrow I have
just
lots of but I will definitely 100% take a look at that and give you my feedback.
because I built a personal bot for my husband, and his bot, he wanted it sassy. So I made it sassy and it talks back to him and everything he likes. So, but I just can't get this one to do that one thing. I need it to speak cinematically rather than narratively.
Hmm. Yeah, that's a cool way of implementing that once you be able to figure that out.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'll definitely take a look. So shoot that over anytime, Deb. I'll help you out anywhere I
Okay,
can.
thank you.
Not
Thank you.
saying I might be able to definitely help, but I'll do what I can to try to see if I can give any insight.
Thank you. I
Not a problem
appreciate
at all.
Just a quick question. I dropped it in the chat here as well. So the buttons and the orbs, are they this one and the same, or are they different? And can neither of them book an appointment?
The
Widgets.
Yeah, the buttons and the orbs, they're fairly the same. I've been messing with the orbs for about a year. I haven't ever even bothered with the button. I use
Okay,
buttons as it's going to direct them somewhere, open a pop-up.
right.
But it should technically just do the same thing as the orb. I think it's just a different look. The orb,
Gotcha.
that floating thing.
Gotcha. So neither of them can book appointments. You need to actually have a button below to book your appointment or something like that.
Well, from the test I've done, there's some people who actually have gotten it to book. So I've been in the group in the assistant group asking questions and stuff, trying to figure that out. So my group will know as soon as that stuff happens, you'll have a full breakdown video, the
Oh.
assistant ID and prompt.
Thanks, brother.
Not a problem at all. I asked someone the other day and he's like very hesitant to help. And, is like, "Can you share the prompt?" And he gives me one line of it. And I'm like, okay, this was no help. Are you waiting for me to say how much or something? I'm like thinking in my head, if this was me, I would have dropped a full video, the assistant ID, like just help people out. Okay, I'm just checking here. Don said, "Can you put the Facebook group link here?" Yes, of course. I do think that you're still here. I can also add it to the doc, and I'll add all that to, both groups. So everyone will have access to all of that stuff. But I'll drop in the group here. That's in the comments. That's the free Facebook group. Let's see. Is the length of the prompt ever, cause an issue? Great question. If you're still here, Ralph, I'm not sure. I think your note taker's here. So let me give you a good example of how I haven't had an issue with an enormous prompt, and I mean enormous. Let me go to the right account here. And I'll be jumping into the rest of the questions, see if there's anything else. I don't want to hold you guys too long. After an hour is when people usually start really dropping, so. All right. Support, all right. So this, and again, let me rephrase that. I don't know what everyone's using for a builder. Now, you may have a limit of the characters that you can add. This, what I'm using, doesn't have a limit. So this right here is actually a full support doc from HighLevel, which, as you can see, not updated. It's not going to be updated. So if anybody wants, I can share that doc. If you're in my school group, you already have it, but remember, this is not fully updated to all the new stuff for GHL. So it's going to be outdated and not have the proper information, but it can still help answer questions and all that. But look how big this doc is. And when I use this support AI, it will answer questions. It doesn't take like 5 days for it to get back. I don't really notice any latency or anything. And this is a lot. Like this is just tons of information. Crazy amount. Don't suggest that. That was just for like, I want to create a little support chat that if any of my SaaS clients ask questions, or anything like that, it can kind of answer those things. And if you ever use something like that and there's all GHL HighLevel, go HighLevel, just let your in your prompt, let it know, do not mention any other software names, replace it with blank, your name. Okay, Nikki said, thanks always. See you next week. Not a problem, Kurt. Appreciate you, brother. Marco, what's going on? I know you hopped on after.
Yeah, I just got back from Mexico. I'm back in the States, so my internet connection should be better than usual. But no, I missed the first part on the prompt builder. Did you add something new, or were you just running through on with the when I hopped on, you were showing the prompt builder and how you built it. It was just explaining how to use it, or did you update something?
No, I was just explaining that I had that, and also like I can't fit any more in there. I don't know if it was when you popped in, I had the back end open, but well, I have those two prompt builders, and we have one for us for the white label AI stuff for assistable, and then I have another one that anybody else using AI can utilize. So I created technically two versions. And they can be all used the same, but I don't want people to think that they have to have, the same tool I'm using, or sign up with me just to be able to get this value, use the prompt builder and stuff, because it can be used anywhere.
Yes, if I want to create a GPT, where do I find that resource in school?
What was that?
If I want to create a GPT for a customer, I know you mentioned if I just
Oh, I was asking if anybody wants, I've wanted to do a training on it. I just haven't had time, but I wanted to see who else would be interested. And a training on building out custom GPTs either for yourself or your clients.
Definitely interested.
100%.
Awesome.
Yeah, I think that'd be really great. Like you mentioned, it not only gives value, but even to use it internally for all your day-to-day stuff. And really, I mean, we're all in the AI game, but the business that's just adopting AI, you give them a GPT and they're just blown away.
Yeah. And it's super simple. It's an easy way in. That's why I use the GPTs the same way I use the orbs, as attraction grabbing. It's that low hanging fruit. It's something super simple. I use the GPTs in the orb to get people introduced to AI. They think it's super cool. They get an easy win. They love it. That helps them change their mind sometimes about AI and their perspective. And then they're like, what else do you have? What else can it do? Oh, we also have conversational and voice AI calling. It's, a nice transition. So again, my ads that I have running, they're going to GPT assistants or, something simple like that. That's not, we're going to take over your entire business with AI employees. Like what business owner is just like, yes, not many, very few.
None.
Because it's scary for them at first, right? So it's just a slow entry. It's a lot.
To comment on that, since I'm with the voice for the auto care industry, first couple customers, I made the mistake of saying, no, I'm going to replace, my AI employee replaces your employees. And I started getting like hesitation. What do you mean you're going to replace them? Then I changed the word to replace. We're going to improve, right?
Yeah.
And make your employees more efficient, not replace them. Because
Yep.
at the end of the day, if they're if it's a local business, they care about the community, jobs, etc. What do you mean you're replacing everybody?
Yeah. I know.
Definitely not a good route to go. Right, that happened.
No, and I hop on, I strategize with a lot of people or people who are joining and, I hop on calls and they're asking all the time about sales and how to position it and offer it. And a lot of them come in hard with, it's going to save you X amount on, and granted, there's a lot of businesses out there that care about saving X amount on an employee who's not doing their job. That you can have a simple tool do it, that's cool. But not every business owner is going to have that same mindset. You know, they all have different perspectives of ways of looking at it and also what they need from it or what they can gain from it. So,
Yeah, and what I've been trying to do is just focus on the bottom line. I mean, it's not about replacing employees, it's about making your business more efficient and having more money in the bank at the end of the month.
yep. And that's why I say they don't care how you do it. Like a business owner wants this, and you say, "Hey, Mr. Business Owner, I can get you that." That's all they care about. They don't care about the in between. The
So
in between is it an AI? Is it GHL? Is it a workflow? Is it a VA? Is it you? Is it like it doesn't matter how, and
sell the outcome.
that shouldn't be focused on. If you know you can do it, you just show them that's what I can do. And again, best way is a demo, an end result. The demo is kind of an end result because they're testing it and seeing exactly what they could get, you know? So yeah,
Always focus on trying to sell the result or the outcome, not the process or how
here's
you
the
do it.
thing though, even those keywords with your AI, it's going to, because you weren't here in the beginning, it will try to sell. We're not, I don't sell. I offer solutions to your problem. And by having that kind of like structure of that in the AI also is going to have that, I don't think there's anywhere in my prompts that talk about selling or, you know, besides booking an appointment if they're ready, or if they want to get started, click that link or send the link or whatever it may be.
Yeah, like I'm trying to, I made a role playing bot that kind of it's not selling them, but it's pre-qualifying them by making them answer the questions and have the customer experience that their customers have.
Yeah.
So really, before I jump on a demo, they've already demoed the system. So it's kind of like I'm trying to focus on pushing. If they do the role play with the demo, they're already blown away. When they book the appointment, all their questions have been answered. It's about just closing them. Give them a quick summary of the whole scope of what it can do, and
Yep.
at that point they should be ready.
That's when I meet a lot of people, because of the videos I put out and then the demos I put out and then the personality I put into myself, my AI, all that stuff does help. Um, just wanted to make sure. Did anybody have any other questions? I
Yeah,
did
Justin,
drop.
I had a question, if you don't mind.
What's going on, Brad?
Um, so when you got like a kitchen design client, you call it a remodeler in the US, right? But it's a distance away from the HQ, which is a qualification point. So, for example, they'll only take on clients that are up to 70 miles radius from their HQ. I mean, a couple of questions really. When would you get that? I mean, that's a pretty kind of key kind of qualifying criteria, right? Would you get that in almost like the first qualifier question? Because if they're outside that radius, it's not going anywhere at that point, right? Doesn't matter what the budget is or anything like that.
No, you're right. And that's the way I would think about it if I was on the call. But it doesn't matter if my AI is, because maybe they're not ready right now or in the budget or something, maybe soon or they know someone. So yeah, you could have it up first, so it just automatically right away figuring it out, you know. But it could be maybe the next thing after it introduce it, obviously the first couple steps. So they have that good experience too. But
So you'd kind of ask them, so what you'd go through the qualification, because I haven't built like a qualification bot, right? So you'd go through all the questions, collecting all the information, and then at that point there would be, okay, you do qualify, you don't qualify. Or you're not doing it after. So if you've got 5 qualifying questions and after the second question they don't qualify, you're not disqualifying them at that point, right? Are you
Well,
taking it all the way through, collecting all the information and then concluding?
it all depends though. Sometimes in our business, they may not be doing XYZ, but they can still be a customer. You're just asking, it's not so much a pre-qualifying, you are asking them, but it's not a deal breaker. You know,
Mm,
for instance, like real estate. Where are you looking for a home? I don't know. Do you have a price range? No. What's your credit? 520. Not going to continue asking questions because that was like, a main pre-qualifier. But if you have multiple, you'll just have
mm,
to work that in, you know,
yeah.
as long as they keep, qualifying, continue. You would have to let it know if the person does not qualify for this, you stop.
Mm, okay. Okay, and then the in Assistable, you'd need to use the custom. You need to use a custom tool, right? To You're first asking them what they're, because these are brochure downloads, right? So they've downloaded the brochure of the kitchen company, and then we're asking them what's the project location, and then you're using essentially a custom tool to work out the distance between their location and the HQ. Is that essentially the way to do it?
Yeah, I have not built a tool to do that because I don't deal with anything that consists of using a tool for that. But I do believe there are some people in Jordan's group that have built that tool out.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, that probably would be the best. I mean, um, distance obviously is an address question, I would assume. And I would think people feel more comfortable giving that up after they've chatted back and forth a little bit. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
so if it was me and I had I'm just really need to know maybe the location and their distance. I'm gonna wait until asking that so that way we've already gone back and forth a little bit, little rapport is built. Now I don't mind maybe sharing my address right at the bat. I'm like, who the heck are you? Why do you want my address? Even though it probably said.
Yeah, and it's also quite valuable data as well to see what your leads are made up of as well that you're attracting, right? So yeah,
Yeah,
okay, that makes sense.
yeah.
Yeah, okay. Your GPTs are great, by the way. I've been using them the last day.
Awesome. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And a lot of people dropped off. I should have said this before. Everyone started dropping off. If you got any value from this, please give some feedback. Drop something on my post in the group, whatever it is. Love to hear your honest feedback on, some nuggets you got. And then also on top of that, I want to hear some results of how the AI is performing now that you added in some of those things or used my prompt too. So, and I wanted to mention too, so there's a couple people on here still. Is everyone on here using Assistable?
Yeah.
Yep.
I know Deb is. Um, Dawn, were you using Assistable too?
Hey, Brad, as just a quick comment. As you're qualifying, I'm actually in the auto care industry, but I'm about to go into contractors here in the US, remodelers, kitchen bath. It might be as you're qualifying them, qualifying with all your normal stuff, but then when you ask them the radius or where they're located, I don't think you have to create a custom tool. As long as they give you kind of the neighborhood or the zip code where they're at, you can predefine, but at the moment you qualify, you get all the information you need from them. If they're not in the area that your customer serves, you can
Mm.
still maybe send them something like a referral offer. Refer someone and we'll give you a $200 gift card. So even if they're not in your radius, at least you're building the list for the customer that could possibly turn into a referral that'll give them a job.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's a good point.
And remember, if they downloaded the brochure, they do have an interest. Maybe it wasn't directly for them, but maybe someone they know, a friend, a relative.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's a good point. Yeah.
And I don't know about are you in Australia? Where are you at?
No, UK, London.
UK.
Yeah.
I'm sure contractors have the same problem as the US. Remember, saving them time answering FAQs and
Mm.
are one of their huge pain points. If they're out working and they get a phone call, who's answering it? If they get a text message or a WhatsApp, so that immediate communication with the customer is very valuable to them.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Definitely. Let me check here. Jonathan said, how do we get in school group if we already subscribe to GHL and Assistable? Oh, into my school group? I mean, you're more than welcome to join. I do have a couple members who are not using Assistable through me as like a white label that are in the group. So you are more than welcome to join. It would be the 97, to where my 2 calls per week. I share all types of stuff in there. So I don't know if this other stuff would interest you, but I try to make sure I'm very well rounded with anybody that I'm helping out, because that's the way I like it. I have some stuff in here if you do join that you can grab templates and stuff. There is obviously more in here. You're already paying Jordan, you're already using GHL, you wouldn't need to pay the 297 or anything. 97 would get access to the group, my calls, the assistant quick launch, which you might not need, but any of the IDs, templates I have, the SRT framework, kind of about almost what I did today, just a little differently broken down for everybody in here. All my GPT assistants that do all different types of stuff to save you time. High level strategies, offer, niche avatar, marketing strategies, Facebook ad strategies. Now, some of these I just started moving from. I went from being in, GHL my whole life and Facebook to going this year, I'm going to try school, then not liking it and going back to GHL's communities for the first time and was like, no, I'm going back to school. So there was a lot of moving around there. But everything is now starting to be popped back in here, organized. My stuff's on the calendars. And yeah, so
Justin, are you mainly focused on agency owners? Is there any particular kind of verticals that you?
so the past, I'd say 7 years, I've been doing local businesses. I've worked with almost every local business you can think of. Solar, someone who did music, a musician, I mean. The main ones I focused on was real estate for 3 to 4 years, and then the beauty for 4 or 5 years. After 6 or 7 years working with clients, I've had hundreds of clients. I had 7 VAs working for me at one point. At 44, I'm all done with working with clients. I feel better and I provide way more value to SaaS and agency owners. I build out all these things for a business owner and they're like, oh, I show them a Canva template. They're like, this is awesome. I'm like, do you realize what I just built out for you? You show an agency owner what you built out, they're like, dude, this is awesome. Freaking awesome. It's like where my value gets put the best. So yeah, moving forward, I stopped taking on beauty clients about a year ago almost. I have 15 to 20 clients still in the beauty industry, 1 or 2 in the mortgage still, have not taken on any, won't. They're going to be there until they're like, hey, I'm all set. Other than that, I won't push them out. I just won't take on any more. So yeah,
Right.
working with SaaS agency owners moving forward. You guys, much different group, much different bunch, and it's my kind of people. So this is where I want to be.
Can you elaborate more on that? Like our business, like I'm starting to work with business owners, uh, and I'm close to your age, a year or two younger. But is it a nightmare to just deal with them? Like I'm not dealing with like low entry. Like I'm talking 7, 8 figure where my build fees 10 to 12K. My subscription fees starts at 2K. So it's not like dealing with 500 or $1,000 clients. But can you speak to that? And is it, am I getting myself into a big headache or what's going on there?
No, I mean, I think going after a niche where the clientele's a lot different, it's a lot higher of a ticket is good because then you're going to be able to scale faster because of getting the help that you need, you know? Um, I charge real estate clients and mortgage brokers more when I was in that industry. And again, I've been, it was back before AI was around, it was just ManyChat, you know? I was building out bots 7 years ago on ManyChat. But the real estate, excuse me, beauty, I should have probably did a little different, but I kept things very low cost. You know, it was 97 for the entire platform. No, nothing else added, just 97. I did give you training, right, to help you out. I went a little above what most people would do, and I added in. So Beauty Boss was the SaaS I did for 5 years. A lot of clients, a lot of VAs working at the time. What I did was I added in certain pieces of value that would keep them not just on SaaS, but also for the other stuff that I'm offering. So 97 for the entire platform. Then I had at one point 197 if they wanted to include ads, UpHex. So UpHex was a plugin for that. And then 497 was a done for you. I'll set up your system, run your ads, but obviously a setup fee, you know. So I did keep it low in this industry because 5 years of being in here, I moved prices all around and I found 500 was like the sweet spot in this industry. And I had my stuff dialed in to where it was easy just to duplicate the clients, have a VA set up.